evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel and smash that like button right meow. You know you're gonna have a good time. Well, I know I will, and hopefully that will come off. These are always fun. Oh, so obviously a new mic. I went live almost every day last week testing it out. It seems to work pretty well. My brother helped me to get the crackly, bacony air frying bacon during a tornado sound out. Oh, what's up, one to go to? Glad you made it. Says, howdy, Nikki. So good to see you. Yeah, it's good to see you too. I've been looking forward to this so much, like more than I always look forward to these, but just more so. It's not quite excited. I don't get excited. I can't handle the disappointment, but I've been looking forward to this. It's the new mic, just where we're at with the review, and it might be my last review here, just working on getting things moved here over the weekend. So that possibly the next live show I do will be in the new place. Getting ahead of myself, but it's just a lot going on, a lot up in the air. It's exciting. I like where things are at. Yeah, there's just a lot to look forward to if you're so inclined. And yeah, so it's I keep putting this stuff on, and I keep feeling like every time I talk for 2 seconds it goes away. But it's a lot of good stuff going on in the works. I am a little bit nervous just about the fact that since I was going live all last week, I didn't have a chance to do anything else, like no Minecraft, certainly no reviews. So this was going to take me right up to about the very cusp of where my notes are. I don't think I'm going to go past it. I'm not going to like BS through an episode I haven't watched in over a year. I don't think we're going to quite get that far, but I'm just looking at my notes, and then I flip too far and there's blank pages like, like, is it Moby Dick from the movie Sphere, the one with Liev Schreiber? After page such and such, all the pages in the book are blank. Spoilers. It just makes me think of that. And it's weird to not do a test stream before I go live for one of these as well. So it was odd to just brush my hair with the camera off. I'm really not the type to have a camera in my face all of the time, recording every last little thing about myself. It's odd when I can understand the attraction, but it's still odd for people to want to do that. Like, we don't need to see everything you do, and how you cut your steak and how you fold your clothes, and just that's a little bit oversharing. Not quite into that. Like, here's how my bathroom's decorated. Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares. We don't use it. We don't care. Unless you design bathrooms for a living, save it. We didn't. I've personally never once wondered what someone's bathroom looked like. It's just not the oversharing kind. In this day and age, it's sort of expected. So it's nice to know when people have boundaries and limits, and like, yes, they do share, but not every single last thing. Like, here's my bank account balance. Like, whoa, I'm not your accountant. Don't give me that. But it was cool to see everybody live all through the week. One to go to says, sounds like someone popping corn behind the scene, but only when you're speaking words. Let me take a look at that. I did notice something going on with the audio. That's not where it is. At my last, the last thing I recorded live anyway. Let me check that on the TV. Just a second here. I've got to pull it up on the phone first. Okay, thanks for telling me that. I'll be right back over. here's my bank account balance. Like, whoa, whoa. It was cool to see everybody live all week. What's Bluetooth sounds like someone popping more behind the scene, but only when you're speaking words. All right. Once you got to Howard, your voice sounds wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, I did slightly notice that again watching my last live stream back from yesterday. Uh, I don't know how to fix that. It's nowhere near as bad as the because what I did, I watched my live show from the 27th, and then I watched my last review with my old microphone and stuff, and it was a world of difference. Um, I wonder if that's something that can be cleared up with like that spongy sock cover. It's like the filter condom for a microphone that slips over. I wonder if that would clear it up. I don't know if it's something within the settings that I can mess with. Just because I go to read about this stuff and it just does not make sense to me. Uh, it's like I'm not dumb, my brain is. Um, but brother fixed it before. He's not here right now. It's not. I did hear it, but it's not so terrible that it's sort of like it's not drowning me out. It's not a constant noise going on in the background kind of a thing. So it should be fine to get through this. And worst case scenario, I can just cover the same episodes again a week from today. Kind of hopefully not, but we'll just dive right into it and see how it goes. Oh, might want to get my recap up here. I did notice too with the old microphone, you wouldn't notice it quite then, but compared to this, it did sound like slightly tinny, like the audio's going through the Tin Man. Here's what I was wondering, like shower thoughts when you're not in the shower. If this is a microphone, what's the opposite? Like a phone, a megaphone? How much bigger would a microphone? What's the size of a phone? But this is a microphone. I don't know. I don't know. Like I wasn't high or anything, and I just thought of that. Yesterday, today, something like that. Wait, if this was a phone microphone, because a telephone is this big, and it's roughly the size of the microphone. So I don't know. It's like I feel like kindergarten should have told me that, or Sony or something, but they didn't. Okay. Oh man, that last episode, it was kind of hard to watch too. It was hard to read because of what was going on with Sam and just confessing what was going on with him 10 years ago to Maggie. And like I was so on the verge of tears just reading it back and then watching it and just, dude, that really gets me in the feels. All the stuff that's happened on the show so far. I mean, like, yeah, it was sad when, say, Bill Malloy died, but just Sam just explaining himself and like that's his daughter. He does everything for her and just tried to get money and just nothing worked out and he's just been stuck in a rut for a decade. That was so sad. I like Sam so much. Great actor. I like the character. He's been going through it for a decade. I know what that's like. But to recap my last review. So yeah, Sam admitted to Maggie why he sold those paintings to Roger. Then Burke and Sam made Roger confess to his crime from 10 years ago. And then Jason's friend, Willie Loomis, that guy, he's in town, he joins his buddy, and immediately creeps on the girls. As soon as he sees Victoria, he's staring at her. As soon as he sees Maggie, he's staring at her. So you just can't put it's you just can't put him anywhere. The man is wearing corduroy. He steals stuff. He wants to. He's so confrontational. He's just like just wound up too tight, just looking for an excuse to go off half cocked on somebody. So like almost the complete opposite of Jason, because Jason is just like smooth and controlled and charming and just trying to get what he can out of people, and Willie is just looking to just snatch something valuable, punch somebody, and run out of the room. So he's just, it's night and day with these two, but they're buddies. Maybe you've had a friend like that who's nothing like you, but you just click. I guess that's what it is. So that's his partner in crime. So Jason's stuck with him, we're stuck with him. And rather than like Jason never came off, he doesn't come off as a creeper to me, but that you get Willie Loomis in the room, immediately creeping on the girls. So, so that's what he's like. And we have, oh, I better do this now. How many episodes left to go? Like 1042, something like that. But I want to see. Yeah, 1042 episodes to go. These just fly by. Okay. Closer to the microphone now. This is different. Oh, my paper's a lot brighter now. Great. Can't miss any of this. So we are on episode 204. This aired on April 6th, 1967. It's one of the Frankly's birthdays who comes to these shows. It is day 50. It's daytime, morning. We're in the kitchen. Now, the intro is saying that there is a savage, dangerous, unwelcome stranger here at Collinwood. Talking about Willie. This dude, you just can't trust him. So we're over there at the with the cabinets on the side of the room there, and Carolyn's just pouring herself some coffee. She's still in her just sort of like a night dress sort of a thing. Nothing you would wear outside, but she just, it's like she gets up and does her hair and comes down for breakfast and then gets dressed. So it's early and Victoria walks in and Carolyn's just saying that she didn't sleep well. But she asks, who was that strange man who came to Collinwood last night? Something about him scared me. Victoria, I saw him. All I know is his name is Willie Loomis. He's Jason's pal, and he's staying here. Carolyn, staying here? Victoria and Jason asked Liz, and she said yes. Carolyn, why would she let a man like that stay at Collinwood? Victoria, I don't know, but stay away from him. He creeped on me when we were alone together, and Liz had to come in and break it up. Carolyn, and Mother didn't kick him out? That's not like her. It's like Jason's got a hold over her. And you seemed frightened of Willie. Victoria, I am. Last night he was sly and insinuating and insulting. And the other night he almost cracked a bottle over some dude's head at the Blue Whale just for bumping into him. And he would have if Jason hadn't broken it up. I never saw that look on a man's face before. Like he was capable of murder. So now we're in the living room, and Roger's sitting there at that desk where everybody seems to do their paperwork, something like that. It's right in front of the camera. But he's just sitting there minding his own business, reading the mail. And Willie walks in. He's wearing a vest. He's got his sleeves rolled up to about the shoulder. So he walks up to Roger and he stops. So Roger, who are you? Willie, I'm Willie Loomis. Roger says, what are you doing at Collinwood? Willie, I'm a house guest. Liz invited me. Roger, how long have you known Liz? Willie, since last night. Jason introduced us. Roger, oh, so you're Jason's guest. Willie, yeah, Jason and me have been friends for a long time. Where's the food in this place? Roger, oh, the kitchen's in the back. How long are you staying here? Willie, it depends. I like it here. I'm an easy guy to get along with, if people treat me right. Roger, I might not have the chance to find out. And he stands up and if he could have run out of the room, I think he would have. He's just completely put off by this new guy. So Roger gets out. And I think Willie thinks this is funny. He just goes around pissing people off. But now we're in the kitchen. Roger is sitting there with the other girls. He's like, I don't understand Liz. She said she'd give permission for this Willie person to stay and wouldn't explain. Then she said, I can go if I don't like it. So Carolyn asked, what's their connection with Liz? Roger, I don't know, but I don't like it. Just then Willie walks in. Just sees everybody sitting there. Hey, mind if I join you? Roger stands up. I'm going out. I'll get something in town. Like, dude does not even want to eat around this guy, so put off. So as soon as Roger leaves, Carolyn and Vicky stand up, and they're almost to the door. Willie's like, wait, come back in. He says to Carolyn, I want breakfast. I want you to fix me breakfast. Carolyn says, now you just wait a minute. Willie's like, no, you wait. Victoria, just don't argue with him, Carolyn. So Willie wants coffee. Victoria goes over there, pours it for him. Then Willie tells Carolyn to sit down, and she's like, why? Do you want someone to talk to? So she does sit down, but she sits down in such a way that, now where Willie's sitting, he's up the head of the table, so he's basically facing the camera. But then Carolyn sits off to the side, so she's also facing the camera. She's not looking at this dude, nothing. I'm sure all he can see is the back of her head. So he can't see her face, but we can. Now, remember when I told you when Carolyn's around a guy who's being really pushy, really kind of domineering, it's like she's into that because she did this with Burke. We can see it, but he couldn't. But she would just lick the very top of her lip, just there. Well, this time with Willie, again, he can't see her, but she's sitting there. And her tongue is just all over her lips, just getting them all wet. Like she clearly does not like him, but as she's sitting down, that's the only time she's ever licking her lips. So okay, she's kind of into this, but she's put off by it. I would say it's mixed signals, but we've seen her do this before. But she's still not looking at the man. Then Willie says to Victoria, tell the cook I want 2 eggs, sunny side up, toast, and a small steak. Get a whole fried chicken while you're at it. So Victoria's, I'll go tell Mrs. Johnson. She leaves the room. So Carolyn's alone with this guy. And then the whole time he's just been staring at her, how he does. And Carolyn's kind of fidgeting a bit. She's, stop staring at me. So Willie asks, what do you do for fun around Collinsport? Carolyn, I don't know what you're talking about. So Willie says that all girls are the same. Don't pretend you're better than me. Carolyn said, I'm not. I don't even know you. Willie says, maybe you should. You might even think I'm better than you think I am. I like you. And I'm a man who knows what he likes. So Victoria comes back in, lets him know, I told Mrs. Johnson, she's making it now. So Carolyn's like, can we go? She stands up to leave, and before she's out of the room, Willie's like, Carolyn, I'll see you later. And again, he's getting a kick out of this. He's in this rich place, being a jerk. He's just eating it up. Super creepy the whole time. This whole, like, every time this man is around, it's so just bad vibes. So now it's nighttime. We're at the Blue Whale. And Victoria is there on a date with Burke. Anytime she's on a date, like, she really dolls herself up. Like, her hair's all the way up. She's got some earrings. She wears sleeveless dresses sometimes, but, like, really cute, really done up. A little bit of extra eye makeup going on. And it's like we're sort of midway into a conversation. And Burke is saying it, Willie? That punk who was in here the other night? Liz invited him to stay? Victoria, I don't understand him. Carolyn and I are terrified of him. Burke says, well, if he bothers either one of you, call me and I'll handle him. A good beating is what he needs. Victoria says, don't fight with him. He really hasn't done anything. It's just the way he looks at Carolyn and me, and then the door opens up, and they both notice there's Willie. So Burke says, I'm going to have a talk with him. Victoria just, no, please don't. So he just calms down, but then Willie walks right up to the table, and he starts talking to Victoria, just, saying hi. Burke says, do you want something? Make your conversation somewhere else. So the guy introduces himself, says he's Willie Loomis, and says that he's heard of Burke. Burke's like, yeah, and I've heard about you. You're staying up at Collinwood. Take my advice and behave yourself up there. There's 3 nice ladies living at Collinwood. Treat them that way. Willie, what makes you think I don't? And you know something? I don't take advice. Burke says, you better take this advice. Willie, you're a big man, aren't you? You might be a big deal in this hick town, but you can't talk tough at me. No one tells me what to do. Do you want a problem? So Burke stands up. Victoria's like, please don't fight. She looks at Willie. We've never heard her sound this pissed off at somebody. She looks up at him. Can't you just go away? Willie, why not? So he moseys on out. Good, get the hell away from them. But Burke's not done. He starts to make for the door too, and Victoria stops him. Just just don't go after him. Just let it alone. So he does. Oh man. Now we're in the living room. And we've never seen this outfit on Carolyn before. It's a horizontal striped shirt, and it's some kind of dark blazer that she's wearing over it. Their living room doors are open, and we hear the main door close. So Carolyn, like she was there writing a letter, she hears that. She's like, "Oh, Vicky." A couple seconds later, in walks Willie. And Carolyn just, "Oh, I thought you went out." Willie says he got bored. So Carolyn, puts away her pen, puts the, papers back in the desk, closes the drawer, stands up, pushes the chair in, heads for the door like she's going to walk out. But Willie's standing right in her way. So Carolyn, like, "Did you mind standing aside? It's late. I want to go to bed. I'm tired." So Willie says, "Oh, well, why don't you have a nightcap with me?" And Carolyn doesn't want one. So he says, "Why don't you fix me a drink?" So she goes over to the wet bar. She's super nervous, like her hands are kind of shaking a bit. Just kind of, she pours like the shallowest little shot of a drink you've ever seen and hands it to him. So Willie just stands there, gulps it down. But he still won't let her leave. "Oh, what's up, B-Chap? Glad you made it." So Willie says, "I get the feeling you don't want to talk to me. I like you. I dig blondes." And then he touches her hair. So Carolyn backs up away. She says, "Don't touch me." So Willie says, "Your problem is you like me more than you pretend." Carolyn says, "Please, I want to go to my room." Willie says, "I'll tell you when you can go." Carolyn says, "You don't give me orders in my own house. Never try to touch me again." Willie says, "Go ahead, get mad. I like to see girls get mad." "Oh, what's up, Dandy? Glad you made it. I was just at your bar, the Blue Whale." In the last scene. So Carolyn tells me, I think this is what everybody was thinking, but she tells Willie, she says, "You disgust me, so stay away from me or you'll be sorry." Willie says, "I'll take that chance." Carolyn says, "Stay away from me, please." So Willie turns around and grabs both the doors and he's closing them slowly. He says, "I can't hear you." So he gets the doors closed, turns back around. Carolyn's backing up a little bit. She says, "Leave me alone. I'm warning you." Willie says, "Why should I? You keep talking, but I can't hear a thing you're saying." So Carolyn turns around like we can see her, Willie can't. Carolyn says, "I'm warning you." And he reaches out and he touches her hair again, just there in the back like that. So Carolyn turned around because she's got that desk drawer in front of her. She pulls it out really slowly, pulls out that motherfucking thing. It's this little snub-nosed revolver type of thing. And yes, she does have her finger on the trigger, but considering the situation, no trigger discipline violation here. If you got a guy creeping on you that close, that is not cool. She's just tiny little girl. She's got the right to defend herself. She could have just blown him away right then, but she's got that thing out. She points it at him. She says, maybe you'll listen to me now. It's loaded. If you don't leave me alone, I'll blow your head off. Get out of here right now, or I'll shoot you. Willie's like, don't get excited, little lady. I'll say goodnight for now. And he opens the door and walks out, and the camera is like following him. We can see him walk out of the room and head up the stairs. And the whole time, she's got that thing aimed right at him. Kind of don't blame her. And then we see the foyer for the credits. Oh my god. That scene creeped me out so bad the first time I saw it. Even though I know what's coming up, it still creeps me out so bad. Like, dude, that is not cool. There's not been a situation like that on Dark Shadows before. Oh, just no. This guy's the worst. Oh, Dandy, you've been in all weekend, LOL. That's okay. They're keeping your seat warm for you. Ugh. Total creeper. And those doors lock, those doors to the living room. So that could have been bad, but they're 2A in Collinwood, so good for them. All right, episode 205 aired on April 7th, 1967. Now we're on day 51. It's a sunny day out there. It's morning. And we're in the living room, and we get a really close, tight shot of the drawer opening up again, and Carolyn's taking out the gun to just look at it again. Just probably thinking, damn, I almost had to use this on somebody. But as she's holding it, the doors open up, so she kind of jumps and turns around, holds it behind her back. Liz is in her checkered outfit. It's the one I like that makes me think it's cut like a Chanel outfit. The double pearl necklace. The brooch where it's teeny tiny, like itty bitty teeny tiny, like those little balls you put on cupcakes and their candy, except the pearls. Like a whole bunch of those and just some kind of design. We've seen it before. And her bow is sort of light colored. It's usually dark colored bows. It's just a little bit lighter colored one. But she's in a good mood. She's smiling. And, notices Carolyn there, like, oh, did I startle you? You jumped when I walked in. You're as white as a sheet. What's the matter? Carolyn says, you don't want to know. BHF, the cops definitely shouldn't charge people with murder unless it's a genuine emergency situation, such as if someone else sees someone else injure on the floor of the house or the apartment. It's self-defense is one thing. It's wrong for the perpetrator to put you in that situation in the first place. So you have every right to defend yourself. That's just what I say. I'm sure the law might be a little bit different, but just if somebody starts shit, then turnabout is fair play. No quarter. Go. Fuck around and find out. Talk shit, get hit. Don't start something you can't finish. So if you want to go around being a jerk to people, and then those people are a jerk back to you, you had it coming. You were asking for it. You could have just not been a jerk and not had that problem, but you wanted to have a problem, so it's your fault, whatever the consequences are. That's not okay. Whether it's, bullying or straight up, violence, you think somebody's gonna attack you and murder you or harm you. You don't know what they're gonna do. You have no idea. Maybe they're just faking it. Maybe they're being serious, but they started it. You finish it. That's it. I do think we should bring dueling back. Like just slap somebody in the face with the glove. I demand satisfaction and just have designated. Like you use the track and field area. What when they're not tracking and fielding, they can have the duels there, and someone can live stream it, and then make clips of it and put it on Instagram. Let's watch the slow motion recap. Oh, he went down, but yeah. Anyway, violence aside, Carolyn tells her mom she doesn't want to know. She just doesn't want to know what the matter is. So Liz notices, what have you got behind your back? She's standing there the whole time like this. Carolyn just, shows her it's this. Liz says, that's Roger's gun. Carolyn says, I almost used it last night to kill someone. Liz says, who? Carolyn, Jason's friend, that Willie. He had a few drinks and he wanted more, said some nasty things, and he kept looking at me, and then he tried to touch me. He wouldn't leave me alone, so I grabbed that motherfucking thing, and I told him I'd shoot him if he didn't back off, and I meant it. So Liz says, I believe you. Carolyn says, I'm sorry I had to tell you. Is Willie a friend of yours? Liz, hardly. Where's Jason? Carolyn, he's in Uncle Roger's study. So Liz says, I'm going to have a talk with him. I'm sorry about this. It won't happen again. Liz storms out. Probably about as fast as she can on those shoes. They're not really high. All the ladies have not a huge heel. It's not like they're wearing pumps like nowadays, but she walks out of there so fast. Now this dress Carolyn was wearing, the whole scene I'm trying to make sense of it because I thought it was a coat. It looks like a really thick fabric like a coat, but it must just be a really thick fabric that's a shirt dress because it's got buttons all the way down the front, chest pockets, epaulettes. Haven't seen that on her before. But when Liz is gone, she takes the gun, puts it back in the drawer, closes it. So I didn't know that was in there. That's the first time we saw. But we're in Roger's study now. Liz walks in. Jason's sitting there. Liz says, Jason. Jason says, how do you manage to look so attractive early in the morning? Liz says, Willie needs to get out now. He tried to attack Carolyn last night. She had to threaten him with a gun. Jason, well, then I'll have to speak to Willie. Liz says, you'll have to do more than that. Tell him to go. Jason says, if I don't, Liz, then I'll call the cops. I'll do anything to protect Carolyn. Jason, there's a few things I could tell the cops. About a certain room in the basement. You'll have to explain how Paul's body got there. Liz says, I'll risk it. Carolyn's safety means more to me than my own life. Well, are you going to ask him to leave, or do I have to call the cops? He's a threat to Carolyn. Jason, then he'll leave. But it'll take time. I have to find a way to deal with Willie, and that takes time, so it'll just take a few days. Liz says, I want him out today. Jason says that Willie's a complicated young man and he could make things difficult for the both of them. So I know how to handle him. I'll make him understand it's best for him to leave Collinsport. Liz, and he lives here in the meantime? I don't want him to bother Carolyn. Jason, oh, Willie listens to me. He'll do anything I tell him. Liz, I only have your word. Jason, you trusted me once before. I didn't let you down then, did I? Liz has to admit, just no. If he bothers Carolyn or anyone else, I'll call the cops. Liz is damn serious. So now we're in the foyer, and Willie comes downstairs. He sort of heads towards the living room. He notices Carolyn's in there. And then he hides off to the side of the doorway, just back pressed against the wall, just waiting for her to come out. I gotta sneak up on people, guy. But as Carolyn's going to walk out, that's when he, pops out and surprises her. Says good morning. Carolyn tells him, leave me alone. Willie, what did I do? Carolyn, you did plenty last night. So she tries to walk around him and he grabs her arm. Pulls her arm back, don't touch me. Willie says, I wanted to explain about last night. I was just trying to be friendly. I'm a friendly guy. Carolyn says, I don't like your brand of friendliness. You won't be a house guest much longer. I told my mother what you did. Willie says, nothing happened. You got excited. All I said was you're a pretty girl. Carolyn tells him, I don't know who you are or what you're doing here, but leave me alone. Then we hear Liz, right. She's standing in the doorway to the kitchen and Jason is with her. So Liz walks up. She says to Carolyn, excuse us, I want to talk to Mr. Loomis. So Carolyn exits back through the kitchen door there. Bumblebee just reminded me of B-Chaps. That just reminded me, think of the Motivani song, Just Leave Me Alone. Yeah, I don't care where you fuck off to, but fuck off there right now. Seriously, I'm sure she never wants to see this guy again. Here it is the very next morning, and he's all up in her face and touching her arm. No. So they go, Liz and Jason and Willie go into the living room. Oh, that Leave Me Alone song. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah. Is that what that song's called? They say it enough in the lyrics. I don't know what's cataloged that well. But they're standing in there. Liz says, I'll get right to the point. Leave Carolyn alone. Willie says, I didn't do anything to her. Liz asks, why did she have to threaten you with a gun? Willie, she got nervous. Liz says, you must have done something to make her nervous. Willie says, all I did was touch her hair. Liz says, I'll tell you what I told him. Jason's right there, like I say. Leave Carolyn alone, or I'll I'll have you put in jail. Leave Carolyn alone. And she leaves the room. So Jason closes the doors after her. It's so weird to be so close to everything. I feel like I'm going in to hug my laptop. Who's a pretty laptop? Who gets some hugs? But Jason closes the door, says to Willie, he's like, you stupid idiot. You almost blew the whole deal. Liz almost went to the cops. It's like, if she does that, we're dead. She said she'd do anything to protect Carolyn. Willie's like, well, she didn't call the cops, so don't worry. Jason, she'll do it if she has cause, but she won't because you're going to leave Carolyn and Vicky alone. Willie says, I didn't touch that little girl. Jason says, I know you, and I know you around women. This time, you better chill. I've got the deal of a lifetime cooking here, and you're not going to spoil it. Willie's pouting again. He's like, well, you never talked to me this way before. Jason says, I'm talking to you this way because I have to. Not gonna let you ruin my plans. From now on, the girls at Collinwood are off limits. Willie, you're giving me orders. I don't like taking orders from anyone. I thought we were friends. We know a lot about each other. Don't forget that. Jason says, I haven't. We have the chance to get stacks. Don't spoil it by pissing off Liz. If she goes to the cops, I wouldn't have anything on her. Willie says, when are you going to collect? I'm sick of this place. They treat me like I'm poison. I wonder why. Jason says, put up with it and it'll be worth it. Willie says, I'm sick of these rich snobs. If I could get my hands on some quick cash, I'd grab it and go. Jason says, we'll collect plenty. Just wait. That's how it has to be. Get your friend on some downers, man. So now we're in Roger's study. It's Carolyn is asking Liz, when is Willie leaving? Liz says, oh, in a few days or a week. Carolyn says, a week? I thought you'd kick him out today. Liz says, I can't because Willie is Jason's friend and Jason is my friend. I owe Jason a favor. He was there after Paul died. Well, after Paul left. That's what she says specifically. Danny, nothing worse than having a doofus partner. It's like you got everything. It's like you set up your checkerboard to play a game, and your friend just comes in and bumps it. Like, when do we start? Like, after you pick up all the pieces on the floor, dumbass. Ugh. You can't have nothing. This must be the most intricate plan they've ever had to go in with each other on, and Willie just seems to have one mode, and Jason's like, well, you can't be that way right now. Like, hey, can you just not be like you for a while so we can get through this, so I can collect these friggin' stacks for us, or do you just want to sit here and screw everything up for both of us? Part of us being partners is you not screwing up everything I had planned. But Liz is saying, you know what, Jason was there for her after Paul left. Carolyn says, that's why Willie and Jason are here? I think Jason has something over you and you won't tell me. Liz is like, no, it's a favor for a friend. That's all. Carolyn says, someday I'll find out the truth. She leaves the room. And then Liz sits down. She just looks so stressed. She wasn't wearing a hat, but we haven't seen her this frazzled ever. Willie and Jason, or Jason and Willie, they kind of make me think of the like the two criminals, or sometimes they're critters in animation. Where like one is the big, tough, strong thinking guy, and the other guy is just like you say, like the doofus buffoon, screwing everything up, bull in a china shop, sort of partner. So now we're in the living room. Willie's asking Jason how much the Collins family is worth. Jason says millions. So Willie's looking at that picture above the fireplace. So that's supposed to be Jeremiah Collins, the guy who built Collinwood. But he's looking up at that. I wonder how it feels to be as rich as him. And Jason's looking up there too. Just then David walks in. It's like, that's my great great grandfather. I could tell you a lot about the Collins family. And just noticing David's there. And Willie's like, yeah, sure, kid. You do that sometime. So Jason says, I've got to go into Collinsport. Why don't you come with me? Willie says, I'll stay here. Jason, remember what I told you? And he leaves. So David goes on. His great great grandfather founded the town. That's why it's called Collinsport. And he was richer than anyone. And he was married to this lady, Josette, and her picture is at the old house. Willie, he's really not paying attention to what he's saying. He's just, oh, that's nice. This is just me personally. I wondered, why is Josette's portrait not in Collinwood? This is the wife of the guy who founded the town, built the house they're living in. He wasn't married to, we never hear about anybody say, Josette was his first wife. Nobody ever says that. So why is her portrait, I mean, yeah, it's bigger than his, but why is it not in the same house where they live together? Why is it in a house that nobody's used for, I don't know, 100 years? That it's dilapidated, it's fallen apart, people haven't lived in it so long. But that's where your wife's portrait is. Like, did he never, because the old house was the original Collinwood, and then they built the big house, the actual Collinwood that we see. So, like, was her portrait just always in the old house, and he never had time to move it to the big house? Or was it at one point in Collinwood with his, and then maybe subsequent generations decided, no, let's put it in this house that nobody even lives in anymore, and just put it there? Like, why are those pictures not together? Like, all the times I've been through this, I don't even think we get an answer to that. But I mean, maybe we do indirectly later on, but just like, why would those pictures not be together? Why isn't her picture when we first walk in and there's like that big, huge one on the wall and there's that table? Like, why? They were married, they weren't divorced. Why aren't their pictures married? I'll be right back over. Needed some tea. Because David would know, oh, they moved it to the other house because of this reason. Like, no, that never comes up. So I don't know. But that was just me at the time. Well, Willie's kind of just not paying attention, hands in his pockets. He's sort of just looking down, probably thinking about how he just got scolded like a little kid, like, don't do that, don't creep on the girls. But he's walking out of the living room. He's not really paying attention, not really, he's probably just looking at the floor. But David sort of grabs him by the arm, pulls him over, and he's showing him this picture that's up on the wall. Because we never quite see to the side of the doors. We did one time, there was a mirror hanging there. Now there's a full ass portrait there. And David is saying, that's Barnabas Collins. He died in England. He was richer than anyone. So Willie looks at it. He gets close. It's a dude. He's sitting there. He's got some kind of cane in the shot, and you can see this huge ring on his ring finger. He's got something pinned to the coat that he's wearing, and then he's got this emblem type of thing. Like when it's a necklace, but the necklace part it looks like a ribbon, and then it's this huge bejeweled crest thing. It's like stones. It doesn't have like horses or lions on it, but like that's like right there hanging in the middle of his chest. Got this black hair that's got this kind of thing going on with the bangs off to the side. Dude looks real serious too. Just but Willie's looking really close at that ring. Like, nice ring. Is that a ruby? David, yes, that's a family heirloom. Willie, is it still around? David says, I haven't seen it. But there are other heirlooms around. Willie says, you're kidding. David's like, oh, we have plenty of heirlooms around, and they're worth stacks. So just then from upstairs, Carolyn comes out of that second story door, sees those two talking to each other. Like, David, come upstairs now. Victoria's looking for you. David, why? I did all my homework. She's like, don't argue with me. And he's, okay, fine. Goes up the stairs. So Willie says, yeah, I'll talk to you later to David, and watches him go up the stairs the hallway. Carolyn's glaring down at him, but they go upstairs all, through the door. So Willie's by himself, and he's looking closer at that picture, getting really close. And this is the first time this happens. We get an inner monologue. But it's saying what I'd give to get my hands on jewels like those. Grab them and run. Jason says, wait. Sick of waiting in this house. Then he says out loud, I need a drink. So he grabs his coat from the hook. We don't see the hook, but that's obviously where he got his coat from. And he walks out the door. And then we see that portrait again, and Barnabas's eyes glow. It's like the white parts of his eyes are brighter. And we also hear a heartbeat. I've never looked at a portrait and seen a heartbeat, so that's creepy as hell. And we see the foyer for the credits with the portrait of Barnabas there. Oh. All right, episode 206. This aired on April 10th, 1967. It is day 52. It's daytime. We're in Liz's bedroom. So, morning. It must be pretty early because what Liz is wearing, it just seems, again, like a sort of a bed dress, again, something you're not going to wear walking around the house, but it's you throw it on over your PJs and, do your hair or whatever. But she does have her hair done up. She just doesn't have the bow in yet. She's not wearing earrings. But it's 3/4 sleeve. It's got this big wide collar. It buttons all the way down the front, and it's sort of just nondescript flower pattern thing going on. Just and she's just buffing her nail. She's not even looking up. She's kind of. But Victoria's there in the room saying, "Would it be all right?" And Liz, "Oh, what? Sorry, I wasn't listening. Would what?" Victoria says, "If David can pick his own reading for school, he's going past the text, and she wants to let him decide what he wants to learn. Maybe he's just more advanced for the reading material that Liz pointed out. So okay, cool, he's smart." But Liz just, oh yes, just whatever you decide is fine. Victoria's, "I just wanted to let you know what I'm doing." She's like, "Can I do anything? You seem worried." Liz said, I'm fine," and sips her coffee. Again, I love the cups, the coffee service, tea service, whatever you want to call it at Collinwood. But Liz turns it around. She says, "You seem worried." Victoria says, "I'm not. I'm frightened." Liz, "Why?" Victoria, "I can't help it. Liz had to threaten Willie with a gun." Liz, "Oh, maybe Carolyn just overreacted." Victoria says, "If anyone could handle a situation like that, it would be Carolyn." Liz says, "I talked to Jason and it won't happen again." So Victoria admits, I'm not only afraid of Willie and Jason, I'm most afraid because of you. I think you're in trouble." Now Liz has gone across the room. I guess that's where she keeps her jewelry. She's putting her earrings on. They're clip-ons. I never knew that before, but okay. I don't know if it's faster for TV. I don't know if her ears aren't pierced, but they're clip-on earrings. Okay. Liz says, "I'm not in trouble. Jason is an old friend, and Willie is here as a favor." How many times do I have to explain it? This is my house. If I want guests, it's my business. Wish you all would stop asking questions. Just, maybe I should start having guests. The minute there's the slightest change, you and Carolyn and Roger don't know how to act. It's good to have new people at Collinwood. And then she calms down. She says, "I'm sorry, I'm not myself this morning." Victoria says, "That's all right." Liz says, "Everything's all right. There's nothing for you to worry about." Victoria says, "I'll try." There's a clock on the mantle. Again, when a clock is far away, it's teeny tiny. I don't think we're meant to see it, but it looks to be about 8:20 a.m., so it's very early. I want to try to be normal about this. Okay, so now we're down in the foyer. And Mrs. Johnson is up on the stairs, just dusting the banister with a rag as she does. Willie has been recast. This is a fella named John Carlin. John, like John Rogers from the chat room. Carlin, like my last name. Yeah. Still a blonde guy. He's wearing the same clothes, like the button-up shirt, sleeves rolled up to the elbow. No hat. It might just be a darker blonde. It doesn't look like he has brown hair, but definitely a different guy. But he's standing there. He's looking at that picture of Barnabas. Said, I saw a guy in New York a couple of weeks ago who looked just like him, except he wasn't as elegant. He was a beatnik. Mrs. Johnson back there, she's like, oh, don't let Roger hear you say his ancestor looks like a beatnik. So Willie says, the only thing this guy was missing is a pin like the one that's on his coat. Must have taken a lot of digging to come up with those diamonds. Mrs. Johnson says they should have left them in the ground. A good heart and a clear conscience is all the jewels one needs. So Willie asks, well, what if you don't have them, like the clear conscience and all that? Mrs. Johnson, well, you do best to get them. So Willie says, what if you'd rather have something like that? Something like that pin. Mrs. Johnson, well, then you're probably past saving. So Willie, I bet that ring and that thing around his neck were worth saving. Mrs. Johnson, oh, I'm sure they got special attention. Colin's family would have, or they're not known for their values. Willie says, I bet they still have that pin and that ring. You want to bet? Mrs. Johnson says, I'm not a gambling woman. Willie's like, oh, come on. I bet the Collins family got enough jewels stashed away to buy half a continent. And I bet you've even seen them. Oh, what's up, Brian? Glad you made it. Happy Saturday. Mrs. Johnson says, now there you're wrong. I've heard about them, but seeing them is another thing. Willie, I heard the Collins family jewels are a legend by themselves. Mrs. Johnson, that's what they say. So, Willie, and what else do they say? Mrs. Johnson, well, once I heard, I didn't hear anything. So she's walking. She was over there dusting by the grandfather clock, but she walks away. So Willie follows her. He's like, what did you hear? Tell me. Mrs. Johnson, nothing. If you're smart, you'll get your mind on something other than rings and jewels. You hear me? She heads back to the kitchen door, and Willie's like, oh, yes, ma'am. And as soon as she's out of the room, he's got to turn back to look at that picture on the wall. No, he's perving at those jewels the same way he's looking at the girls. And just from this first scene, like, this dude is way more chill, way more relaxed. Like, the last dude, he would, like, stand there with his hands in his pockets, like he was afraid to touch anything. And again, he could not turn his body too far because he's got to look up where the teleprompter is to get his next line. Not this guy. He's got his back to the camera. He's not looking for his lines. Again, he's just way more loose, way more chill. You can tell he's had some acting experience. And this is honestly the best recast in the history of entertainment. That's why we're here today. Brian's asking Dandy how the Northeast is today. Dandy says it's a little cold but sunny today. Oh, it's sunny for Brian too. It's certainly, I guess it was cold and sunny. Yeah, I don't think it was too cloudy. Yeah, this guy's fun to watch. The last guy was a chore. So now we're over in Burke's room, and Victoria's in the foreground, and she's just kind of, it's kind of like Liz was in the first scene, where she's there, but her head's just down a bit, like she's, Burke's in the background. He's grabbing David's coat. He still had David's raincoat in the back of his car from their fishing trip. It's like, yeah, I wouldn't have noticed this if I hadn't gotten my tires rotated. And Victoria's like, yeah. So Burke sort of notices she's not exactly paying attention to him. So he's like, oh, you should have seen David's face when we taxied on the lake. He's a great kid. And Victoria agrees. And then she just, Burke's like, all right, what's that creep Willie done? The way you're acting, he must have done something. Victoria's like, no, it's just nothing. So Burke asks, what's that Jason up to? Victoria says nothing. Burke's like, well, they must have done something. So Victoria finally breaks down and admits, Carolyn had to use a gun to get Willie to back off, and Liz knows about it. She told Jason, and Burke's like, and that's all she did? What's going on up there? Victoria says maybe Liz is right. Maybe we're so sheltered up at Collinwood that we let strangers upset us. Burke says, do you believe that? Victoria says no. Burke says, then let's go. We're going up to Collinwood. Victoria says, you can't go there. You're not going to have a fight with Willie. Burke, not the kind of fight you're thinking of. I'm going to talk to Liz. Victoria says, well, she won't talk to you. I thought you were enemies. Why do you want to help? Burke says, if anyone does her in, I want it to be me. So now we're in the living room. Liz is wearing this. It's a dark dress. It's got 8 buttons down the front, just epaulets, dark hair bow. Burke and Victoria are there with her in the living room, and Liz says, I'm done talking. You're not welcome here. Leave. She looks at Victoria. I'm annoyed with you. Telling Burke what happens at Collinwood? So Burke, she didn't want to tell me, and she tried to stop me from coming here. There's a dangerous man living here. I've seen how this guy acts. Liz, is that what you came to tell me? That you and Willie almost had a fight? Burke says it wouldn't have been an ordinary fight because he's not an ordinary man. He's dangerous. Liz, you're in trouble. I want to help. Liz says, you've always hated me. Burke says, I don't hate you. I hate the Collins family and what it stands for. You need help, and I want to give it. Liz says, I don't need any help. Burke's, all right, I give up. So it's time for him to go. So Victoria goes into, she leaves the room. She's going to go grab Burke's coat, presumably hung up on the hooks. I'm glad they had hooks installed, and I'm glad they used them. I thought Collinwood was too classy to have used hooks. Because they didn't use the hooks too much back when Matthew Morgan was around. So they must have, it seems like no maintenance gets done, but they managed to get hooks installed. Or at least one. Huh. Wonder who did that. Would Roger do that? I don't know. Maybe they made Mrs. Johnson do it. Brian, yeah, them dang Collins. So when Victoria's out of the room, Liz kind of brings it down a bit. She's saying to Burke, thank you for your offer. You meant it, didn't you? Burke says, I did. So now we're in the foyer, and Willie is upstairs on the second floor. And he, walks a few steps, looks over, he notices that the doors are closed down there. So he goes down the stairs, sort of heads that way. Don't tell me you're going to eavesdrop too. But as soon as he gets down to the bottom of the stairs, that's when Victoria walks up and she's holding Burke's coat. So, Willie turns around, just being a dick. She tries to step to the side. He steps to the side also. She steps to the other side. He stays in front of her, just won't let her get by. Willie's like, I just want to apologize. Victoria says, will you please let me pass? Willie says, what's the rush? Then we hear Burke, I am. Willie turns around to face him. He's like, hey, it's big man. Liz says, Willie, that's enough. Willie's like, I'm sorry, Mrs. Stoddard. I take it back. You're not a big man. Burke, I'm big enough to tell you something. Stay away from Victoria. Liz says, Willie, please leave. Willie's like, yeah, all right, good thing the lady's here, or you might have got yourself hurt. So I guess Burke's had enough. He grabs Willie, grabs him by the shirt, jacks him up against the grandfather clock there. Victoria's, all the ladies are both right there. Victoria's like, don't, please. Willie is so calm and he speaks so low, you almost don't hear it. But he says, take your hands off me. Burke says, I will, as soon as you understand what I'm saying. Willie says, I think you better take your hands off me. Liz says, please, both of you, I won't stand for this. Burke, you are leaving? Now please go. Victoria's like, please, Burke, fighting won't help anything. Burke says, I'm not so sure. Willie, neither am I. Liz says, let go of him right now. Burke lets him go. Now, Burke's maybe a couple inches taller than Willie, so I guess he is the big man. But he lets Willie go, and he just takes his sweet time walking past Burke and Victoria, gets a few steps away. Burke says, don't forget what I said. So Willie stops, he turns back around, says, I never forget a thing. Turns back, heads upstairs, walking super slow. Gets to the top of the stairs, has to turn around and look at Burke, just evil-eyeing each other. And then he slowly just moseys on through the door. So now we're in the living room. And Burke is saying to Liz, still won't change your mind about my offer? You just saw with your own eyes. Liz says, when you see Willie, just let him alone. Both looking for a fight. Victoria, maybe we should just forget about it for now. Burke says, you're turning down my offer of help out of pride. Think what you're doing to Victoria and Carolyn. Liz says, I can't listen to this. When will people start leaving me alone? Burke says, he and Jason have something on you, don't they? Liz like, no, they don't. I don't need any help. And she smacks the microphone and walks out of the room. She's tired of hearing about this. And we see the foyer for the credits. Yeah, this Willie is already scarier. It's not that, okay, yeah, he's a hothead, but I don't really think the first Willie would have done anything. Where is the second Willie now? This dude would swing on somebody. I don't think he's just talking shit. Like the first guy just seems more like a shit talker. This guy seems like the type of dude to get his hands dirty. And he looks like a troublemaker. Like this dude just looks like he's seen the inside of a jail cell, like he would scrap with somebody. The fact that he can remember his lines and not be facing the camera like, oh no, this dude is serious. This dude is scary. I can only imagine how he would have played this character if it would have been John Carlin from the beginning, but we'll never know. So the point is that they did recast the character, because honestly it felt like it was a bit of getting into a bit of a slump again, because we had Jason come on and like he's interesting and calculating and with Irish accent and all this stuff, and then he's got his idiot friend hanging around screwing everything up, who's just a pain in the ass to watch, and with his corduroy pants, and this Willie was not wearing corduroy pants. And it felt like I was just dragging it back down again, but that's gone now. We're in a good place. So, like I was saying, best recast ever in the history of anything. So, episode 207. This aired on April 11th, 1967. It's still day 52. And in the intro, it's Victoria saying that there are people with no conscience, and they just take and take and take like it's a disease. Ain't that the truth? But it is nighttime. We're in the Blue Whale. And we're at the bar. It's Willie and Jason. And the bar man's, giving Jason his money back. He just bought some drinks for the two. And Jason's like, keep the change. So he tips. Willie doesn't tip, but Jason does. Okay. Good man. So Willie says, thanks for buying my drink. Maybe someday I'll buy one for you. I like to slap a tenner down and buy a couple of drinks. Jason's like, well, you'll buy next time. Like, when's that gonna be? Next year? Jason says we'd already have plenty if you hadn't moved into Collinwood and made trouble. But one more mistake, and neither of us will get dick. Willie says, I'm getting tired of being told I'm lousing things up. I'm tired of being bossed around. If I don't see some dough soon, I'll show you how to get it. Oh yeah, the bar's not too far from Dandy's. He says, I might be doing a shot or two at the Blue Whale, LOL. Yeah, that's my head canon now. The bar you drink at is the Blue Whale. So if I drive through Cleveland and don't see a Blue Whale sign hanging up, I'm gonna have to write the commissioner or the mayor or something like that. I know it's not Maine. That is certainly not the point. You've got seagulls. It's close enough. But Jason says, we agree we both want money, but we disagree on the way to get it. Willie's just in a mood this whole time. He's just pouting, he got yelled at, he got kicked out, so he's just moody tonight. But Willie says there's only one way. Like right now, I'd like the feeling of some green stuff in my pocket. And as he's talking to Jason, he notices like something, and then we see this blonde lady walk past. You know how hair was back then, like one of these super short little haircuts. Like it's cute. It's just some lady walking past. We've never seen her before. But Willie notices her and he's got his eye on her. Says, I'm out to have a good time tonight. And like I say, I'm gonna have it. So Jason reaches into his, coat pocket again, pulls out. It looks like $3. You can kind of see the ones on it. So Willie says, how long's that supposed to last? Jason, until I can get us some more. Oh, the blue perch, LOL. That's close enough. Just stretch it out a little bit. Yeah, that's close enough. Is it really called the blue perch? I'll lose my shit. But that's when they notice the door opens up and in walks Joe, Maggie, and Sam. So Jason notices this too, and he says, like, stay away from them. Remember the last time? Willie cuts him off. I remember the last time. So those three sit down at a table, like roughly in the middle of the bar there. And they're sitting in such a way that Maggie is like, she's facing the bar, Joe is sitting in between them, and then Sam is sitting like he would have to turn all the way around to see the bar, and that's sort of the way he's sitting, like that. Maggie takes off her coat, looks up, like, oh, it's those two. And Sam's got his pipe. He's got a cigarette or a pipe. He's got the pipe tonight. He's like, who's that? Maggie's a house guest from Collinwood. Sam, Collinwood. High society. Joe, just the opposite. So Sam asks, who are they? Maggie's, I don't know, they're friends of the family. The older one's all right, but that other one is bad news. Go back over to the bar. And again, those two have been staring at these three since they walked in. So there's Willie just staring at them. Like, see them look right at me? They're talking about me. Jason says, you've been talked about before. That you have a way of making friends. Willie, I'm not out to make friends. Jason says, you're too edgy. Just chill. Chill out, bro. Willie says, how can I when I'm broke? Then we see that blonde lady walk past again and just notices. They're over there. They're right next to the jukebox. I guess it'd be like this. It is the bathroom that way? Why are you looking at girls when they're walking into and coming out of the bathroom? That's, God, this guy is such a fucking creep. But Jason is telling him, like, Willie's picking out a song. Jason says, you've got to trust me. That's what I'm talking about. So you've got to listen. Willie's like, okay, I'll listen to you. Just getting loud. So Jason's looking around for folks to be staring at them. Jason says, don't fight with anyone. Willie says, I won't. But I won't let anyone push me around. But Jason looks at those other three. He's like, let me see if I can make nice with the locals. Willie says, there's only one guy I won't be able to get along with. Burke Devlin. Me and him nearly went at it twice. Next time, it's on sight. Jason said, that's what I'm talking about. You have to avoid him. Willie, no promises. Just then the door opens up. Who is it? Burke. So Burke walks in. He sees Willie. Willie was looking at the door anyway, so they lock eyes. Willie says, look just who walked in. Look at him staring at me. I'll stare him down if that's what he wants. Jason's like, turn away. We don't want him as an enemy. Like, I mean it, turn away. And he just has to step in front of Willie and Burke to break his eye contact. So Willie kind of reluctantly turns around, faces the bar. Burke sees those other three, so he joins him at the table. And of course, they notice that, them sitting there. And Burke walks up to the table. He's like, "Oh, you had a run in with him, too?" Joe said, "Yeah, we had a problem with him the other night, but his friend broke it up." Yeah, Willie was being a jerk towards Maggie. Sam says to Joe, "Oh, thanks. I owe you a drink." So Maggie says, "I don't know how Liz can have them at Collinwood." Joe, same. "How's Liz let a creep like that around the girls?" Burke's like, "I asked Liz, so Victoria, Carolyn, and Roger. I was told to mind my business. Willie was bothering Victoria. I broke it up, and Liz stopped me. Could have broken his neck." "Maggie, you look like you still want to." Sam says, "We've had enough trouble to last us a minute." Burke, "I've just gotten a 10-year vendetta off my back. I'm not looking for any trouble." Sam says, "Well, if all you're going to do is talk about trouble, I'm going to the bar where the real fun is." So he stands up, heads over to the bar. Not where the Jason and Willie are, but just the very far end of the bar. I guess it'd be like over that way. Sort of by the wall where the bar ends at. So we're back with Jason and Willie. Jason is saying, "I want this Burke Devlin for a friend. I found out he did time." Willie says, "He's an ex-con?" Jason, 5 years. So Willie laughs. He's got to turn around to look at the dude. He's like, "This guy acts like he owns the whole town and he's done a stretch. Well, you never can tell about people. Look at him. What an act he puts on. I bet he even goes to church on Sundays." Jason says, "Never mind what he was. He's a big deal now. You chill out, and I'm going to go chat him up." So he leaves the bar, walks up to the other four there, and Jason addresses Burke. He wants to take him to another table, like, let's go talk over there. I'll buy you anything you want. So Burke orders a bourbon, and Jason, 2 bourbons. So they sit down, and they're at the very far end of like there's a phone on the wall, like they're that far off to the side there, like the total opposite end of where the bar is. Jason says, "I want to talk to you about my friend. He's a good lad." Burke says, "He's one of the worst creeps I've seen in a long time. And if he does one more thing, I'm going to stomp mud holes in his ass." This is when I noticed they can do close-ups on John Carlin because he isn't always looking for the teleprompter. Very good shots. He has an interesting face. But we're back with Willie and that blonde lady he had his eye on. Now she's walking around the bar with some guy. So that was his one shot. So no chance with her. So he walks down there to the end of the bar where it's Sam is back there, and it's these two guys that are like a little bit older than him. One's wearing a hat, another guy's smoking a cigar. The barman's down there talking with them, just like that older guy's just chilling back there, having a good time. But Willie walks up there and he looks at Sam. Is "Hello, can I buy you a drink?" Sam just, hello, why? Willie says he's trying to be friendly. Sam, well, sure, that's a very friendly thing to do. What made you decide to be so friendly? Willie says, oh, I've been in town for a while, haven't made any friends. Figured I'd give it one last try. Sam says, well, you picked the right man. I'm the friendliest guy in town. He is, though. But cheers. They get their, drinks, get my friend whatever he wants. So Sam sort of walks to the front of the, where Willie was standing there. We're close to the camera now. I like these guys. Maybe not together. We don't know if they're going to get along very well, but I like David Ford is one of my favorites. John Carlin, I'm just completely over the moon about. So it's nice to see two of my favorite actors in a scene together so soon. I don't know how often this is going to happen, but I'm like, hey, I like these guys a lot. I bet they work well together. They're both very natural. But once him and Willie are standing closer, Willie's like, I've been looking at your beard. Is it real? Sammy, yeah. It's like, it looks good. How come you grew it? Sam's like, I don't know. I got tired of shaving. Willie's like, yeah, I tried growing a beard once, but just people start to look at you, Sam like, oh, well, I don't worry about people. Sam's like, or not Sam, but Willie's like, I don't really worry about them. I kind of do what I want anyway. So now we're back with Maggie and Joe, and Joe's looked up like, oh, I see Sam's in good company, and Maggie looks up too. They both sit back at the same time, like, uh-oh. Joe's like, that's all right. That creep only likes to pick on girls. You want me to break them up? But Maggie's like, no, don't get involved. But I wish Pop would move away from him. As soon as she saw them two talking together, her eyes are fixed on them both. Like, get the hell away from my dad, you creep. O'Brien says the blue perch sounds like a hip joint, or a hoppin' joint. Do they serve perch? I don't eat fish, but... Wait, what are you guys doing to the perch in the back room? The blue perch? This is a brothel! Anyway. So now we're back over with Burke and Jason, and Burke's like, okay, so he hated his mom and carried a security blanket until he was 19. What else does he do? Jason, like he's basically good. Burke's like, I wonder about you two. Why would two people so different pal around together? Jason's like, well, there's some folks you have nothing in common with. And then one day, just fate throws you together. And, Willie, he's a hard worker. If he likes you, he'll do anything in the world for you. Burke says, you being at Collinwood is pissing people off. It's like you have a motive for being there that gives you the run of the house. Jason, like, is that what I've got? Burke says, I want you to know I like the people at Collinwood. So now we're back with Sam and Willie, and Willie's saying, he's like, you're kidding, you're an artist? I never met an artist before. Hey, that's why you grew that beard. Sam, well, no. Willie's like, I hear all artists is crazy. Not all artists are crazy. All artists is crazy. I don't think he stayed in school too long. But Sam's like, it's almost like he takes it personally. Sam's like, that's not true. Well, it's like, you gotta be crazy to do all that stuff. Like, do you do all them lines and drip paint and cartoons? Sam, no, I just paint what I see in the area. So Willie's like, you make any dough at it? Sam just, oh, it's just enough to get by. Willie says, why don't you get wise and paint that stuff that makes dough? Sam, I'm not interested. Then Willie gets a little bit closer. He's like, hey, do you paint girls? The longer these conversations go on, the more uncomfortable Sam looks. And I think this is about his limit. He's just, well, let's talk about something else. And he kind of tries to move away. And Willie sort of like has his hand on his shoulder a little bit. He's like, wait, I want to know if you have models. Oh boy, here he goes. So now we're back with the table with Joe and Maggie. And Joe is saying he's got to give work a call, because he's some kind of supervisor there now. So he's got to leave to use the phone. And, Maggie's like, I'm just going to stay here. And Joe's going to be right back. So he goes over to use the phone. So Maggie's still watching her dad talk to this creep. And she can sort of tell he's trying to, pull away from Willie. And Willie keeps, grabbing his arm, like trying to, he's on this side trying to get him to stay. So Maggie stands up. But there's Willie still stopping Sam from walking away, holding onto his arm. He's like, tell me about the models. Sam says, I don't use them, I'm telling you. Willie's like, come on, I know about you artists. I hear stories. Just then Maggie walks up, grabs Sam's other arm. Like Willie's on the man's left, Maggie's on his right. They're both holding onto his arms. Not roughly, but just enough that he'd have to jerk his arm away to get away from one of them. But Maggie gets up, come on, Pop, we're waiting for you. There's Willie. Oh, is this your daughter? You got a mighty nice looking family. Hey, why don't you let me buy you that drink you wouldn't take the other night? Maggie's like, no thanks. So she says to her dad, like, we have to go. So Willie's like, oh, I get it. You don't want me to talk to him. Maggie's like, no, that's not it. He's like, I know when I'm getting the business. Now Willie proceeds to go on and insult everyone, speed run, any percent. It's like, oh, you think you're special, too good for words. Well, let me tell you something. You're nothing special at all. Sam's like, take it easy, buddy. Please. Willie says your old man's worse than you are. Crazy artist painting pictures no one will buy. So Sam says, now listen here. So Willie's looking at Maggie now. He's like, your daughter ever model for you? But she looks like she could be a model. Nice build. So Sam steps up in front of his face. He's like, you watch your mouth. So Willie says, I'll say anything I want. You got that? So then we hear Burke. Well, say it to me. So now we see Burke stood up there. Willie sees him. Burke says, go ahead, speak up. So Jason has walked all the way around Willie. He's trying to pull him away, but Willie, pulls his arm back. Brian says, LOL, because he's a straight creep. That's fucking worst, man. Bruh. He has no off switch. Like, you can't have a charming side like your friend. No, you're just full on creep all the time. Willie's like, no, wait, Mr. Burke Devlin wants me to speak up. Burke's like, come on, because you'll be gone in 10 seconds. Willie, where will I be gone to? Burke, wherever you came from. Willie, who's going to send me there? Burke, I am. Willie said, you scare me half to death. Burke says, you've pissed off everyone in this town. It ends now. Willie, you think you're a big man in this town. And there's Jason again trying to pull his friend away, and Willie jerks his arm back. He's like, no, I get a kick out of these guys who act like they're so clean when all the time they're trying to cover up their dirt. Burke says, there's the door. Walk out or get carried out. Willie says, all right, now you're talking like a real ex-con. So Burke slaps him, like gets him twice in the face. I don't think anybody saw that coming. So Willie stumbles back into the bar, catches himself, reaches into his coat pocket, pulls out a knife. Maggie screams, and we see the barman back there. You can see him reaching for a bottle like he's going to get it and like crack it over Willie's head while he's not looking. But Burke's like, no, I'll handle this punk. So, fight! So, everybody's standing up watching this, forming a circle around them, and they're kind of circling each other. Willie kind of jabs at him a couple of times. But then he tries to, like lunge at him. Burke catches his arm, sort of, wrestles the knife away from him. Gets a few hits in, like gets him in the face, punches him in the torso. And Willie just collapses there by the bar. At a bar, there's a bar on the ground that's like maybe about a foot above the ground where you can rest your feet on. He's on that. He's slumped on that. Like he's not facing the camera. Dude is just, he's just out for the count. And again, Burke is about a couple inches taller than him. He's done time, so I can see him swinging on somebody, another grown man, and really hurting him. Dandy says I can visualize James Dean playing Willie. Imagine James Dean, but not gay. And I see what you mean. Yeah, they could have had James Dean playing him the first time if he wasn't. Was he alive back then? And then recast him. Now that you mention it, that first Willie, he did come off slightly, possibly, just the actor, not the character. Like, why are you creeping on women so hard? What are you covering up for? Whereas this dude just seems like a straight up violent person. Like if John Carlin's Willie would have been the one not letting Carolyn leave the living room. My God. I'd have been scared to death. I don't want to watch the show anymore. It's too. Make it stop. But Willie's down for the count. So Sam and Joe pick him up. They're taking him out the door. Get this guy out of here. So Jason's, been hanging around this whole time, of course. So Burke says to him, he says, you better get your friend out of Collinsport or I'm coming for the both of you. Jason just, nothing to say. He just leaves. Like, I heard you loud and clear. So he's out the door too. But now, Joe and Sam are, like, I'm sure they just chucked Willie down there on the ground. But Joe's back there with Burke, and Maggie's there as well with Sam. But Joe's like, how did that start? Burke says that guy's been asking for it for weeks. Like he's been in town for a few days, but maybe it felt like weeks, but he hasn't been there that long. And he's got Willie's knife now, so like, hey, free knife. Now we're in a new location. We're behind the bar. And like, it's all on the dock, so we got like the seagull sounds outside. And there's a brick walls, there's barrels, Willie's sitting on a barrel, wooden crates, there's just one street lamp there. And like he's all slumped over, like his shirt, like an extra button's undone, and he's got some kind of like rag or something. He's just holding it up to his face, like some blood on his lip there. He's just kind of slumped over. And Jason walks up, like, you all right? Tries to look at his face a bit there. And Willie says, I'm going to kill him. I mean it. Jason says it won't do any good. Willie says, I don't care. I'm gonna get that man. Jason says, I want you to get even, but we'll wait until after we get the money. It's like, you leave Collinsport until then. Willie says, okay. But I'm not leaving unless I get enough dough. And we see behind the blue whale for the credits. That's the second time we've had a scene where the entire scene takes place in one location, except for that little bit at the end. Like the one where Roger got arrested and then like Carolyn showing up all upset and like they're getting Sam to come in and say about stuff because Vicky thought that Roger, what you remember that episode? Like the entire episode takes place in the precinct, except for one short scene at Collinwood standing there at the window. Same thing with this. I got so far into the episode, I'm like, are they going to go anywhere else? Does the entire episode take place in one spot? It does. Okay, I got 9 minutes left here. I don't quite think I can get another episode in 9 minutes. But since I've got a little bit of time to fill out, I was going through my notes and I realized that I had written with the last guy, James Hall, since he had to look at the camera so much. I literally wrote, I wonder if he got fired just recently here within the last month or so. From what that story said, yeah, he did get fired. He was on the show for what, a week? It really wasn't working out. Maybe he did something later on and he got better at acting. Maybe he was just too new. Maybe he was just super nervous, but it was not working out. He could not remember his lines. He had corduroy pants. He was not scary. He's just kind of this bumbling, moody idiot friend of Jason's who's just there screwing every last thing up, doing every single thing wrong. And I mean, like, yeah, I talk tough again. Like, maybe he seems like he would have just talked shit and left. Whereas this Willie is willing to whip out a knife and try to stab somebody. And, like, yes, he's moody, but he's also that violent that he's going to do something about it. He's not just going to talk shit. So, like, this guy is a lot scarier. They should have gone with him first. I don't know why they didn't, but they quickly course corrected, and things will be much better going forward. So, yeah. I will say, I guess I can say this now, but episode 207 was filmed on March 28th, 1967, and then when we come back next week, episode 208 was filmed on April 11th. So they had a couple of weeks off there. I wonder why. So we will find out next time. Brian, it's an Asian massage bar and grill, Nikki, not a brothel. Oh, John Rogers, what's up? He says, dang, I'm late. Hello, everyone. Yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, if you go to the very first episode, that's the one that aired on the day you were born. Hell of an episode. Willie was recast. They went from James Hall to John Carlin. Much better choice for absolutely anything. John Carlin is actually most known for playing Harvey Lacey from Cagney and Lacey that aired in, I believe, started in 1982. It also has Sharon Glass, who I know from Burn Notice, and Tyne Daly. I don't know if I watched it at the time, but like he's most known for that. Secondly, he's known for playing Willie Loomis. Good casting change. We should have had this from the start, but again, after about a week, they seemed to realize the first guy was not working out, so they got the best guy possible, and things are going to be a-okay. So next time we'll definitely get into episode 208, 209. Then there's a 3 disc recap. Oh, John says he spent 3 hours on the phone with Chris. Aw, he's the one that helped me out with my microphone a few days ago. So yeah, he's awesome. Chris is my brother, but John and I are not related. John Rogers and I are not related. That's how the internet works. Dandy says, thanks for the escape, Nikki. Needed it this week. Yeah, definitely. It's a kind of a crazy week. It seems like I'll be getting the rest of the move done, or at least the biggest parts of the moving done here this week. So it seems like I'll be in a new place for my next live show. It seems like I haven't heard anything official, but usually Frank is off on April 2nd. That's a Thursday. I'm planning on going live April 2nd for a balcony chat. And then Saturday, the 4th. Yeah, that's when I'll be continuing on with the Dark Shadows review. So that's when we'll definitely be getting into more about Barnabas Collins. And just proceed on from there. So, like I was saying, there's about 3 cast changes or 3 additions to the cast, and then things become what people know the show for. We're almost to that 3rd one. We've got Jason, we've got Willie recast. We're going to have someone else join the cast. And to just find out some more information. We're going to go back to a place we've been before, like a location on the show. It's like, oh, now that place has a name. Cool. We didn't. I'll save it for next time. But yeah, it's weird to go to a place a few times and then we go there again. Oh, now it's called this. Before it was just a place, but now there's an actual name for it. And we'll see another actor we haven't seen for a little while. I don't believe we ever see Frank Garner again. I think he was upset when Dr. Guthrie was killed because that's his buddy, and maybe he just didn't want to be around spooky stuff, so we don't ever get to see that guy again. Maybe business picked up and he didn't have time. Dandy, ooh, Barnabas, I know, right? That's going to be exciting. Or more work. I don't know. It's wild to be this far. These are the episodes I wanted to talk about when I started doing this almost a year ago, and then kind of had a bad start to that and had to take some time off and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm glad I didn't start with this. I'd be way too nervous. I'm glad I covered the beginning. We're still technically in the beginning, so just a couple more beginning episodes, and then we'll be into the Dark Shadows proper that everyone else has seen. You can watch all of this right now on Tubi for free. Link for that is in the show description and the channel description. It's also on Internet Archive. All of that is absolutely free. So you can hear me talk about it first, or you can watch along and see it in black and white with better actors. You really do want to start watching the show at 2:06. You really do. I cannot do these actors justice, especially not John Carlin. So you really got to watch him do it. He's got a bit of an accent that I cannot do. And what else? I've also got super chats opened up. I've got Venmo and Buy Me a Coffee. That goes 100% to myself. You're not spending your money on AI content. I'm not spending it on hookers and blow. Google does not get 30%. And your money stays in the United States. I read all of your comments at my next live show, so you get to be part of the show that way. And that helps out with the move-in and the rental truck and all that kind of stuff like that. If not, don't worry about it. You guys show up and like the show and comment, and we see each other in other chat rooms, so that's just as awesome as I don't value people based on how many pennies they've given me. Like, we're all equal, we're all awesome, we all support each other. And thank you guys for supporting me in this so far. So it will be a different kind of a vibe going on the show in a few episodes there. But that will be next Saturday. So again, I'll see you guys on Thursday for a live show for a balcony chat. Then I'll see you on Saturday for the next installment of the Dark Shadows complete series review. So you guys are the best. Thanks for showing up and being awesome and being based and sexy, and get something to eat, get some good sleep, to smoke out on the balcony. John Rogers says, have a great night, everyone. Yeah, you too. Have a great night. Just keep it chill. Don't be starting bar fights. That's not cool. That's not how you make friends. It's just a bad look. Don't creep on the girls either. That's also a bad look. But basically, anything Willie does, don't do. Just don't do any of that. Don't. He's not a role model. Great actor. Don't do what the character's doing. Just keep those separate. But yeah, you guys are the best. Thank you so much again. Thank you for letting me do what I've always wanted to do. You guys support me so we can support each other. And I will definitely be seeing you guys in a chat room this week here coming up. So thank you guys again. And you are all the best. Oh, Dandy's saying, oh, we got to do that meetup at Barry's this year. Yeah, definitely. And till next time.